Was it a culture shock for you, or you just kind of roll with the punches, roll with it?
Probably the openness when it comes to the openness when it comes to what's the word I'm looking here for? Like the gay community, the LGBTQ community. That in Delaware wasn't so prevalent as like right in your face, which I have no problem with it. Like I've had gay family members. I'm always goofing around, so like I don't have a problem with it. But it definitely was an eye opener seeing how diverse people are that come from that community, and how many friends you can make in that community. Like I have a lot of friends in that community now, and then also just like going to some of the parties that they go to and experiences that they go to, man,
It's a different, yeah.
yeah, it's a different world. But again, for the good and the bad, like I've been to some crazy mansion type parties with those folks, and then I've also, had to be like, hey man, what's going on here? So, you know, it's like you said, that was probably
Yeah,
the biggest culture shock. I was like, oh wow. But
yeah,
other than that, like the people are people. It's just like you try to divide the fake ones from the real ones, and then you
the
can
real ones.
take your own assessment from there.
Yeah, yeah. It's when you mention that. So my late brother was gay, so I was actually exposed to that type of culture early. He would tell me stuff, and I'm like, "Why are you telling me?" But I think a lot now he was trying to prepare me, right, and just make
Right,
me more, put me in more of a global mindset.
right.
Um, and when I came to the Bay Area, and now I live in Houston, they have a very strong, prominent LGBT community there, and that actually led in fighting for rights for a lot of transsexuals and whatnot. And I remember one of my funniest interactions. I went to a gay bar, actually, and I'm gonna be real. I actually prefer to go to gay bars because people genuinely there are having fun versus bars that are more heterosexual. You know what I'm saying? It's like in the gay bars, LGBTQ bars, they tend to just be more fun and more lively.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely.
so I'm there with I want to say one of my I think I was with a girlfriend at the time when I was at the bar, but somebody approached me. He was trying to hit on me. He's like, I think he just straight up asked me, "Are you gay or whatever?" I said, "Hell yeah, I'm happy as hell." And he looked at me and rolled his eyes and walked away. you know, but yeah, like when you say that, yeah, I know exactly what you mean because it's when you go to gosh, I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's a specific neighborhood in San Francisco. Um,
The
and
neighborhood.
it's like, no, it's not called neighborhood. It's actually, gosh, I'm blanking on the name, but it's actually like their neighborhood or whatever. And it's pretty much known as like the place you go, to celebrate your openness and stuff. But yeah, that's definitely good, man. I kind of when I first met you, I kind of got some East Coast vibes, but then I was kind of unsure when you was in LA. Because once you move to the West Coast, it really does change you. That's the one thing I will say about the West Coast is that it for me, it because the thing about particularly, I don't know if this is like this in LA, but people in the Bay tend to be as much as about their money because it's very expensive, politically conscious, but then also very humane. So it's like you see people who can, you can hold a conversation with them about everything, not just, it's just not like the guy on Wall Street who just wants to talk about stocks and all this and that, or it's just not the techie who just wants to talk about algorithms and all that.
Right.
Right. People there tend to be very well rounded. Did you see that type of do you see that type of person too in LA as well?
So I guess it just depends. Like I've definitely run into some very impressive people that I've been like, oh wow, you do this and that and this and that. Wow. Like so I've definitely run into a few of those people, but in my opinion, I think LA has like a lot of pockets of like personalities, right? Like if you go like Third Street and Gary Street down to like the Arts District, right? You're gonna have like a way different type of vibe of a person than compared to if you go to like Woodland Hills and you go to like the grocery store in Woodland Hills. Like Woodland Hills, for those that don't know, is kind of like off the 101. It's a little bit outside of the city. It's probably 45 minutes to an hour from downtown, compared to being downtown in the Arts District, compared to being in
Yeah.
Venice, compared to being in Santa Monica. So it's like, in my opinion, it's like pockets of personalities and impressive people all across the board. But it's pretty much like when you're going down to Venice, you know the type of people you're gonna run into. When you're going over to the Arts District, you usually know the type of people you're gonna run into. Same if you're going up to Burbank, you know the type of people. At least that's what I found, so anyway.
Right, right. Yeah. And it's like that too in the Bay. I haven't really explored Houston as much, but like San Francisco tends to be more like everyone, irrespective to the race, kind of dresses the same, looks the same. When you go to the East Bay, particularly in Oakland, like it's like everyone got their own individual style.
Right.
So yeah, yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, like Silver Lake is like anyone will tell you Silver Lake. Oh, that's the hipsters, like flannels and beanies all day. So it's like similar to what you were just saying.
Right, right. So from your experience in from working in Bank of America, right? What are some things that you actually learned there that you see as a big advantage for crypto?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So while I was working at Bank of America, probably some of the biggest advantages I've seen that led me into wanting to be more about crypto was just how big of an advantage the bank takes of you. How like I guess careless they are of your business, right? Like these big banks are they've gotten so accustomed and so used to just yeah, like we're running stuff, you know, you have to come through me. I am the barrier of entry. Like you know what I mean? If you want this loan, you got to come see me. If you want your credit score to go up, you got to come see me. If you want this,
See
that,
me.
and that, like it's just like nonstop. Um, and for a small part of the time, I was actually working in collections as well with Bank of America. And when I was working in collections, I was running like a small little team that was, you know, they would just call people and then you would get on the phone and try to have them pay whatever bill they owed or whatever. Um,
Right, right.
and that really helped me understand that like they're ruthless. Like banks are ruthless. They don't care about what situation you're in. They don't care. It's f you pay me, right? That's the mindset. F you pay me. It doesn't matter what's going on. So that's first of all, that's not who I am. I'm probably too caring at times. Like I've probably gotten people have gotten over me before because they knew I would be like, ah, all right, you know, no big deal, whatever. Um, so that's one
You actually
thing.
froze. You actually froze up.
Oh shit. Is it back?
Oh, it may have been mine. May have been mine though. Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
yes.
back.
Yeah, so really just I've seen how like ruthless they can be, how you know uncaring, unkind they can be, not no empathy being shown towards their customers. I can see the biggest barrier to entry, you know, out there. It's really your background and what you have in the bank or who you can rely on, right? Like and then that tied in with your credit score, which is all these just made up like made up models that someone came up with. Like the credit score model was started in 1980 like two or something like that, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, so I just seen that I seen how much that people were being denied like basic liberties, right? Like if you messed up, like for me, right, when I was younger, I messed up with a bank account. And I think I had a bank account when I was like 17, 18 that went like $200 in the negative and I just left it alone. I never worried about it, never paid it. I was just like, okay, whatever. And like that was like still carrying on to me as I was like turning like, you know, 20 at this time, moving to the bank. I was like 26, 27. And you know, just not being educated enough to go back and pay that and call the right people to get that off. Like those little things being held over your head for so long, I just saw as the biggest barrier to entry. So when I started learning more and more about crypto and I started learning how, you know, it was, you know, trustless, it was permissionless. And then when I heard about DeFi and all the things that you could do in DeFi, I was just like, oh man, it's over for y'all. It's over for y'all banks. So that's really, I guess, what started me the swift kick in the butt to really start diving a little bit deeper.